Thank you for joining us. Good morning and welcome to the morning news here on TV3 with me, Godwin Asideba. Coming up this morning. And the Bulletin Steering Committee of the ruling New Patriotic Party will meet today, July 20, to decide on the modality of the Special Delegate Congress slated for August 26. Contempt suit against Speaker of Parliament withdrawn after Supreme Court unanimously dismisses injunction application against anti-LGBTQI+ bill. AFC, the Nigerian organization alleged to be funding Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia's campaign, has denied ever funding the Vice President. A little later on the international front, Russian missile attacks on Ukraine's Black Sea coast destroys 60,000 tons of grain and damaged storage infrastructure. We have details of these and some other stories coming your way shortly. Do stay with us. You can find us on DSTV channel 279. We are also streaming across the world on Facebook. Do join us with your thoughts and comments. Let's take the details now. The steering committee of the ruling New Patriotic Party is expected to meet today, July 20, to decide on the modality of the Special Delegate Congress slated for August 26. The said Congress will trim the number of the flag bearer hopeful ahead of the National Delegate Congress slated for November 4. But some of the aspirants have petitioned the steering committee ahead of today's meeting. My colleague William Evans Inkum has joined us from Kumasi for more details on this. Evans, good morning. If you can hear me, who are these aspirants and what exactly are their concerns?
So per the report we have picked, apart from the Vice President, all the other 9 want this particular Super Delegate Congress centralized. And their reason is that if that happens, then they will have that opportunity to engage the 891 delegates to share their vision with them and also convince them why they have the wherewithal to lead the party into the 2024 general election. And they're also claiming that if the party was able to centralize over 5,000 delegates, last December, they should be able to do this. What they don't want to see or would want to avoid is having a decentralized system where the election will be conducted at the various regions, that is 16 regions. Because, for instance, they're claiming that if you go to a place like the Western North region, the delegate there is not even up to 30. So why will the party want to, waste resources in doing that? But having them all gathered at one particular location will, foster party unity and also will help these aspirants share their vision with them. Godwin.
Well, Evans, what is likely to be their next line of action if their concerns are not considered by the steering committee?
Well, as at 12 a.m. this dawn, when I'm still engaging with some of, the camp of some of these aspirants, some are contemplating of taking back their filing fee and withdrawing from the race if the steering committee insists that this whole exercise should be decentralized. Well, that is the sentiment I'm getting from some of their, the camps of some of these aspirants. But we also know that before filing their, nomination to contest this particular election, it was boldly written, explicit that monies paid to an exercise like this is not refundable, so we don't know how they are going to deal with that, but they have threatened to withdraw from the race.
All right, thank you very much, William Evans Inkum, joining us live from the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi, with all the details. So within the camp of the NPP, Nigeria's Arewa Consultative Forum, AFC, the organization at the center of the alleged Dr. Bawumia campaign funding, has denied the claim. Secretary General of the forum, Mutala Aliu, further questioned the motive of the journalist. His view was corroborated by the NPP 2020 campaign manager, Peter McMenu, who described the allegations as fabrications aimed at tarnishing the reputation of the vice president and the party.
I know you have a vice president, and I know there is some Alhaji in his name, but I don't even know his name. The first time I saw the name today fully was when I saw your text message. And like I said, I've been Secretary General for 3 years now. So if there's anything, like if there's any relationship between us and anybody, it has to pass through my desk. So I don't even know that. Moreover, even Nigerians, it's not everybody in Nigeria that's a member of the ACF. If you are not from the northern part, you cannot be a member of the ACF. So there's no way we can go and sponsor somebody even outside the north. Even in the north, we don't have many sponsor candidates. I wish we have, really, but we don't. Ordinarily, I believe that people that will make this kind of statement should have some little intelligence to know the strength of an organization in terms of capability, financial wherewithal, and so on. If they had said that Nigerian government is sponsoring somebody, I would not be surprised because Nigerian government has a huge resources, but not an organization like ACF.
This is not true, absolutely falsehood. And these days, with social media, disinformation is one of the tracks that people are using to smear political parties, candidates, etc. I have a firm belief that what the Bawumia team has said is the truthfulness of the case, and that it is meant to tarnish the image of Dr. Bawumia and MPP. And we will not accept that. It's not true. On the platform of IEA, Institute of Economic Affairs, and other CSOs, there have been various discussions against that. Okay? But what is needed is for us to enact the needed legislation and put it into practice. So I am hopeful that with the discussions that have been going on at CDD, at IEA, and other civil society organizations, Parliament will take it upon themselves and enact the necessary legislation. There are now laws, but they are not enough.
Let's head to the Supreme Court now because it has dismissed an injunction which sought to stop the Speaker of Parliament from allowing the consideration of the anti-LGBTQ bill to proceed in Parliament. A 9-member panel chaired by Justice Getu Tokuno unanimously held that the applicant failed to convince the court to grant the injunction. An advocate against the bill, Professor Techiwa Menu, expressed disappointment at the ruling. Lord Eduasare has more in this report.
An academic researcher, Dr. Amanda Odoi, filed an injunction against the consideration of the Promotion of Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill 2021, citing a breach of Article 108, as well as a contempt against the Speaker of Parliament. Per Article 108 of the 1992 Constitution, no bill or motion shall be considered by Parliament if, in the opinion of the person presiding, the bill is to impose taxation, impose a charge on the Consolidated Fund, or other public funds unless it is introduced by the President. Reading the ruling, Chief Justice Tokuno noted that the court had not been convinced to injunct the Parliament's consideration of the bill. The contempt suit against the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, was however withdrawn after the Supreme Court dismissed the application. Professor Techiwa Menu, an advocate against the anti-LGBTQ bill, reacted after the ruling.
This was always going to be difficult. This is a case of first impression. The courts are usually quite reluctant to interfere in another branch of Parliament. So we're disappointed, but this is not the end of it. We've made our concerns several times. So we have a substantive. The bill has not been passed. So today, all these issues were procedural. It was about the manner in which it was being done. But there are substantive issues about the content of the bill, and we'll get to that later.
Other members of the panel included Justices Paul Bafoboni, Gabriel Pamang, Mariama Owusu, Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, Yoni Kolendi, Barbara Akayensu, Samuel Esiedu, and George Kumsing. Lord Eduasare, TV3 News, Accra.
Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuah and a law professor at the University of Ghana, Professor Kojo Epejei disagreed on how the court is handling the criminal prosecution of James J. Chikwesen. Although the state attorney finds nothing improper about the procedure, the law professor believes that the haste and partial application of justice contributes significantly to the public's perception of the case's political undertone.
I do not see any rush in this particular matter. This matter is before a court of law, and every judge has a latitude as to how he or she may want to handle his cases. And now, in this particular case, the judge made an order that she's going to hear the matter day to day. In subsequent proceedings, she made it clear that even if she talks about day to day, it doesn't mean that every day she'll be in court. She even cited instances where the court may not even sit, or the instance where counsel for either the accused or the public may be absent, or even the accused himself may be out for other duties. For example, on the very day that he was to be sworn in, there was a letter and justified because of that. The matter could not go on. We're in court today. The matter has been adjourned to next week, Wednesday. So this noise about day to day and people trying to make comments as if the judge is trying to hound the accused person is something that I cannot understand. It's something that happens in court. You can check for the other courts. In some of the courts, you go to court 3 times a day, sometimes 4 times a day. And I don't see any difference between those accused persons and this particular accused person. If a judge thinks that he wants to hear a case day to day, so be it. It's about you and your lawyers also making yourself available and putting up the defense that you may want to put up. It's not about hurrying your trial. It's about making sure that cases are heard in court and nothing else.
I disagree with the decision made by the Court of Appeal. I think that there is clearly some issues around fairness in the trial process here. And it is based on the fact that if you look at the judicial process, there's a saying that justice delayed is justice denied. So certainly if the court wants to make sure that the case is heard on a daily basis, that is fine. But we also need to take into account the fact that justice hurried is justice buried. And so taking that into account, and more importantly, the fact that the accused person is a member of parliament who is supposed to represent his people in parliament, and taking the trial on a daily basis is certainly going to affect his presence in parliament to represent his people. And so on that basis, fairness is not being applied in this particular case for Mr. Kwesi. I think the parties could have come to an agreement and to share that with the court, or the court could have also considered the situation of the accused person and staggered the court appearance in such a way that if it is once a month or at least once a week or every 2 weeks. And it is interesting that this process is being hurried when there have been many other cases which the court process has generally been considered as ineffective or plagued with some inefficiencies and delays. And so one begs the question as to why this particular instance, the case is being hurried to come to a decision.
Away from the capital Accra, let's turn attention to some worrying developments in the Upper East region. Residents of Kugri in the Garu district of the Upper East region say Burkinabe nationals who sought refuge in the area are faced with sanitation, food and security threats. Nearly 1,800 people have sought refuge following violence and instability in Burkina Faso.
More than 3,000 people have fled violence in Burkina Faso, seeking refuge across Ghana's borders. Most of the immigrants, including women and children, have found shelter in Denungu, Kugri and Songo within the Garu district. The Kugri community alone recorded 1,769 asylum seekers who are now faced with water, food, sanitation and insecurity challenges.
They first came and settled in at Sankasi, whereby that one too, they couldn't contain them. They ran here and took refuge.
According to the locals, the presence of the asylum seekers has added to their insecurity in the area. The Member of Parliament for Garu, Albert Akaka Alazuga, has been visiting the displaced people to get first-hand information about their situation.
I would from here want to know, I've asked that they should tell us where they come from, their identity. I hear some of them mention communities like Sanga, Chiu, and other communities in the neighboring Burkina. We want to ensure that you are safe, but we want to also be sure that you don't bring what is happening over there to this place.
The Garu District Chief Executive Musa Osman, who accompanied the MP, urged the asylum seekers to abide by the laws of Ghana. The displaced people are calling on benevolent societies to come to their aid.
Back to the capital, a leading member of the New Patriotic Party, Kwame Nkrumah, has said putting political case before the court only makes the institution weaker. He told TV3 that members of parliament who boycott the House should not be paid allowances.
The judiciary is a very young institution. Political parties, we are young. Parliament is young. There's a tendency now to put a lot of burden on a fledgling judiciary, which is not fair. Political parties, the electoral commission should make sure that elections are won at the ballot box, not in the courts. If you put political issues in front of the courts, you are weakening them. You are making them become partisan. Let them be free, because once we lose the independence of the judiciary and there's no justice in this country, there's a perception of no fairness, the British monarch was prevented from arresting a member of parliament. A member of parliament is the representative of the people. And in order to make a balance between the king, who had power, it was said that if an MP is doing his parliamentary duties, he cannot be arrested. So when parliament is in session, you cannot arrest a parliament, you cannot take him to anywhere. And I think it's good for us to follow that system, because you may have a dictator coming in and he doesn't like what is happening. He starts arresting MPs, parliament is not working. Everybody should do their work as they see it and do it in a just and proper manner for the good of the country, not for the good of any political party or for any individual. Whatever people want to do, if they're just in, let's do it. And there are also sometimes where you let things happen because for the peace of the country, we let go. There's somebody whose people have said, this is the man we want to represent us in parliament. Why do you want to jail him? Let him go. One seat, let's win the seats on the grounds, not in court. That's my point of view. A parliamentarian has no business to boycott parliament. And if they boycott parliament, their allowances should be taken off.
Let's do some health stories now. The Ghana Physician Assistants Association is threatening a strike on August 1. The association opposes a health profession and regulatory bodies amendment bill 2023 submitted by the Medical and Dental Council and the Health Ministry to restrict their work scope when passed into law.
This bill seeks to reduce our work to nothing, impose medical doctors on us, and frustrate our efforts to grow, to develop, and to provide the best of quality of care to our people. For these reasons, we strongly oppose the proposed amendment and call for urgent meeting with the Medical and Dental Council, Ghana Health Service, and the Ministry of Health to stop this attempt. The leadership of the Ghana Physician Assistant Association wishes to use this platform to communicate to all Ghanaians about our tentative roadmap leading to a nationwide industrial strike by the physician assistants fraternity. And these are our directions to our membership. That from the 24th of July 2023, all OPD services nationwide will be withdrawn by the physician assistant professionals. Then on the 27th to the 31st of July, if nothing is done, we are withdrawing all emergency services. Then from the 1st of August, if our concerns are not addressed, we are totally withdrawing our services to the people that we serve.
You can find more stories if you log on to 3news.com. My name is Godwin Asediba. The show continues with Roland Welcome Bella Mundi. Good morning. Can you imagine? I nearly forgot my name.
You nearly forgot your name. I mean, you know, the focus is on the suit and the combination.
Oh.
Combination is a calculation. How do you calculate in the morning?
Oh, I was actually not supposed to read TV this morning, so I was in a haste, so I just had to put things together, you know.
Good to see you this morning. How are you doing?
Good to see. I'm fine, thank you.
So you're saying it comes naturally, right? You don't even have to try too hard.
Sorry?
It comes naturally.
Yeah, I mean, yours also comes naturally. That's why you are always looking good.
The conversation?
You know. What?
You are the focus.
No, I mean, you do great. You hosted like one of the biggest events in the world, and you know, I actually saw the costume you wore, and I was like, this girl, wow. The sandals and that, was it orange?
Oh, fine.
Oh God. It was, listen, it was working for me. The hair. Did you see me commenting about your earrings?
Aziba, thank you very much. Thank you for the news. You have a documentary coming up?
Yes. Okay. My period is not a shame.
Ah.
My period is not a shame. I don't know if the promo is ready, but then we can have a look at it.
I'm not sure.